half. The Saints score on 5 possessions. The Cowboys score on 4, and they're losing by 19. 35-16. The Saints are just absolutely destroying the Cowboys. 5 possessions, 5 touchdowns. The Cowboys had to kick 3 field goals and have 1 touchdown. And Mino, that's an ass whooping of the highest order.
It's not all bad news. It's good for us because we are the 2 people that pick the Saints. So,
yeah,
not too bad. I think the plus 6.5 for the Saints is feeling pretty good.
It does feel pretty good, but I don't think people give a rip about that as the Cowboys defense. It just reminds you of what happened in the playoff game, the last home game we saw from the Cowboys. It's exactly what it looks like, including a Dak interception that was almost run back, but they did score a touchdown. Not Dak's fault on that interception, but, man, the Saints on offense are playing maybe as aggressive as I've seen a team play against the Cowboys. The defense, Mino, that looked so good against Cleveland is looking like absolute trash against New Orleans.
Yeah, I think you have to give Kubiak a lot of credit for calling up a good offensive scheme. That screen pass to Alvin Kamara where the defense really just over-pursued, and it was wide open pretty much, him to the end zone. And I don't want to be the guy that questions effort, but there was a few times on those big plays where it just feels like there wasn't 100% buy-in, especially after watching the game last week with the amount of speed this defense has. And the Saints don't have a good offensive line, which is very puzzling, and especially those first couple possessions where Derek Carr is just able to drop back, and there is just no pressure on him. And if Olave gets time, that first drive, the big pass, I think they went down at like the 4-yard line, you're thinking, okay, maybe that's kind of a fluke. You still trust in this Dallas defense. They're going to get home at some point, but there has been no push on the offensive or on the defensive line to get to Carr. And yeah, 5 possessions by the Saints and 5 touchdowns. So that tying the most points that the Cowboys have given up in a first half in Cowboys history today.
Yeah. We saw the last time we saw this team at home, they got destroyed by Green Bay, and it's just giving you the feels of what happened in that playoff game against New Orleans today. They are picking on Carson on 21, and I thought the one pass to Olave at the goal line was really good coverage. That's just a fantastic throw, and if you're not going to get any pressure on Derek Carr, I don't care what you think about him, he can pick you apart, and that's exactly what he's been doing in the first half. The Saints have 310 total yards in the first half. In the first halves of the 2 games that they've played this year, they scored 30 against Carolina and 35 against the Cowboys. That's 65 points in 2 first halves in the first 2 games of this year. They are cooking and clicking on all cylinders today. They have 14 first downs in the first half, 7 passing, 7 rushing, 3 for 3 on third down. Cowboys have 14 more plays, but it just doesn't matter because they're hitting them big and they're hitting them often, and this is just an absolute beatdown. They're shell-shocked, and it feels like when you have things go poorly for the Cowboys, especially on that other side of the ball, man, it rolls downhill fast, and they just cannot find any way to stop the New Orleans Saints today.
And on offense, Dak has 2 weapons that he trusts. He's got CeeDee Lamb, who's the best receiver in the NFL. Brandon Cooks is a good receiver. But outside from that, I mean, Schoonmaker has 3 catches in the first half on 3 targets. That's better than I expected. Maybe Schoonmaker has a little something. But outside of that, when they're running the ball and they're getting 2 yards a pop, I was shocked that they didn't have Zeke in the game. Like, as much as we talk crap about Zeke, he didn't play in the first possession.
It is an absolute true, Mino, running back by committee on this team.
And they're getting 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's going to work. They have 16 for 47 as a team. That's just under 3 yards a carry. But the most disappointing thing about this game today, it's just 0 resistance from this defense.
Yeah.
This defense that we talked about after week 1, saying, okay, all you have to do is get to 20 and we've got your back. It's just Jekyll and Hyde from one week to the other. And I know the NFL is a week-to-week league to where you can look great one week and kind of show your ass a bit in the second week. But this defense putting up 0 resistance to New Orleans, like none, is about as disappointing as it gets. Again, not trying to excuse anyone on this team, but if you're Dallas and you put up 16 points in the first half, you should be okay.
Yeah, you're going to score 32 points in a game. You should be able to win.
You should be okay and say, okay, we're in this game. But their defense today is giving them absolutely nothing. No resistance from what New Orleans is doing. New Orleans looks like a Super Bowl contender today on offense. And that's just not what we thought about this team. We kind of put the excuse of, oh, it was just Carolina. Don't worry about it. But, man, is it going to be where you're saying, oh, it's just Dallas? Because they are knocking Dallas around like it's nothing.
You say this reminds you of the Green Bay game.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the Arizona game a little bit last year, even though Arizona was a lot worse than this Saints team. And maybe it's an excuse, but just the early season noon game. I said on the pregame today that I loved how the Cowboys looked last week because it was week 1, and they were making tackles. The defense obviously looked outstanding. The offense, let up a little bit in the second half, but maybe this is the fluky game on defense this year. I still really like Kalen Carson. I still like him as a corner. They're clearly targeting him, especially they're running against him too because we found out he's not a good tackler.
Yeah, I feel that they're targeting both corners because you saw Diggs early on get absolutely abused on one of the Olave routes, I do believe, very early in the game. But, man, they're averaging 6 yards a carry rushing the ball. Derek Carr is averaging 20 yards a freaking pass completion as they are destroying Dallas at halftime, 35-16. I even hesitate to say we're having a damn post-game show today, but we are. It's going to be myself, Matt McLaren, Davey Lane, as we are going to have to dissect what the hell is going on, Mino, with this Dallas Cowboys defense as they give up 35 points to the Saints. So that's
you're getting the ball to start the second half.
Oh, yeah.
So you score a touchdown, then you give up another touchdown, then you score, and then
you get the ball.
You get an onside kick if that's still a thing. I don't know if you can still onside.
You can. You just have to let everyone know that you're onside, and then that's not going to work. They're getting their asses kicked. 35-16. Tune into the postgame show with myself, McLaren, and Dave Lane as we take you through this massacre that's happening so far in the first half. So check you on the radio after the game. See ya.